Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News website, and we've got another in our series of interviews with executives of mining companies that are finding some excellent stuff with their drilling. And the next company, or the company we're talking about today, Endurance, really has been finding something quite spectacular with their drilling at their Orogenic gold system. And I wanted Robert to come on and talk about the news today.
Well, thank you, Allan. I'm pleased to be here. This is the first two holes of our diamond drilling program. So, we're going to be drilling now for, our plan is to be drilling through the fall, about 8,000 meters. So we're about 2,000 meters or so into that program now, with 9 holes completed, but we've only got the assays now in the first 2, and that's what we announced this morning. And those 2 holes were set up in an area that we tried to use the RC drill, but it couldn't penetrate because of ground conditions. So we drilled in this area, and we still had difficulty getting core recovery. But as soon as each one of the holes that we drilled, they're colored in bedrock, it ended up in a gold intersection. And one of those gold intersections, was a pretty good one at running 8.41 grams per ton over 12 meters, which is a pretty good interval. And that had a higher grade core of 11.85 grams over 7.7 meters. So, yeah, so it's, it shows that consistency of grade over width. In a zone. But what's significant about it is that hole and the other holes from the same setup drilled in a slightly different direction both hit this zone and colored in it. And it looks like it's a zone we weren't expecting to see, because we didn't see it at surface in a covered area. It's maybe 20 or 30 meters horizontally away from where we expect to see the 020 zone. So they may all be related. We still have to unravel that, but it's just a good indication that there's a lot of structure in this, what we interpret as the feature that's potentially driving the mineralizing events that we're seeing in those shallow dipping structures. And that's good, because if we can identify some good strike length to that feature, then the pretty good chance that that's going to be able to follow at depth like most orogenic gold systems.
You know what stood out to me from that news release? I was looking at your plan map, and you've got quite an impressive zone there. What is it, 600 meters long by a couple hundred meters wide, and lots of widespread high-grade gold mineralization.
Yeah, the zone that we've got defined up on the plan map with the press release today is the Eagle area, consisting of the Eagle zone and the Eagle South and 020 targets, all part of what we are combined in that Eagle area. We've now tracked that out over 435 meters of strike. But that is just one zone in a system where we've got gold and bedrock in other areas along that same structural trend over about 1.5 kilometers. And the gold geochem and soil and biogeochem suggests that the system's got a 2-kilometer potential, and it's still open to the southeast. This drilling that we did, in the RC drilling and the channel sampling drilling we announced in mid-July, shows that system is still open to the southeast. And we're going to, in some of our diamond drilling, is meant to chase that in that area to the southeast, but it's still open, so we'll have to put in some additional trails to chase it even further.
So I'm looking at the plan map again, and I see that you did drill from the same setup, but you have one pretty much going north and one going to the east. Yeah. And inside of that, hole 23 hit 3 separate zones of high grade. Hole 24 hit one, and then another one later on in the hole. So it's definitely looking like widespread gold mineralization there.
Yeah, we think those lower intersections may be related to the 020 target, which we see, and we hit in our drill hole that we announced in January of hole 21020, hence the 020 zone. And that's the one that had 24.8 meters of 15.7 grams. And then we did some RC holes in and around that, and those are showing that the zone is there. And we don't still have a good idea of its true width. But this structure we've hit, and the top of these other holes, 23 and 24, we announced today, are a different feature that we haven't picked up in prior drilling or RC drilling or on surface. So it's encouraging.
So you're finding something blind there?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Although structurally it looks like it's in a similar location to our imperial zone, which is about 750 meters away from these intersections. It's right at that major structural contact between sediments and volcanics. And that seems to be a real favorable area for mineralization on this royal shear trend. And so that's the feature that we feel may be the feeder feature for these shallower dipping structures like an eagle.
Well, you're at a very important juncture in the exploration of an orogenic system. You've kind of established a widespread gold mineralization near surface, and now you're starting to chase the vertical dimension, which is where it gets really exciting in exploration of an orogenic system.
It does, and we're fortunate that we have most of the zones we're getting here have pretty good width to them. So if we can demonstrate those zones continue significantly at depth with the same kinds of attitudes, then we can build tonnage quickly as we open it up at depth. But opening it up at depth means longer holes through rock that isn't as mineralized. So they get more costly in terms of your drill intersections and the time to get a drill intersection and things like that. So
but that can really make things exciting as well, that dimension.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, but we still got to get into that phase, but that we hope to transition to that phase as the year progresses.
And now you're into the core drilling, so you can get a better understanding of the geology.
Absolutely, and we're going to try to use that to come up with some summary understanding of what we're doing by late summer or so, with a little bit of a concept with the diamond drilling will help us understand a bit more of the concept and the model. Because there's a lot of alteration in and around these mineralized zones, and it's structurally complex and alteration. It's complicated alteration-wise as well. So all of these things come together to create a story and potentially tell you if you're a certain type of alteration, then there's a pretty good chance you may have gold mineralization close by, or it helps you understand it a bit better. So that's the goal of now using the diamond drill core to really unravel the story here.
And in this case, complex faulting is a good thing. That's what they have at Fosterville, the Swan Zone.
Well, that's right. An epizonal orogenic gold system tends to be higher level, so you get often a bit more brittle faulting. And that brittle faulting can take complicated forms. In our case, it creates cataclastites or breccia type zones in the mineralized structure. The mineralized structure itself is a cataclastite breccia. And it's mineralized, both some of the fragments as well as the matrix are mineralized. So that's creates a consistency of grade over width. So those whereas when you get deeper in orogenic gold systems, you move into more crack and seal veins, and sometimes they can be tighter but a higher grade. And our grade's already pretty good where we've got it now. So
what you're describing there is what led them to the Swan Zone at Fosterville.
Well, that's right, and we do see analogies to Fosterville in the sense of a higher level brittle deformation area where you get sulfide replacement and sulfidization features. So those are often caught up in these cataclast type breccias. Um, and uh, and then as you transition at depth, then they get into the higher grade gold system at Fosterville. We haven't reached that stage yet, and we haven't demonstrated with any of our drilling that we're into some of those higher grade visible gold areas. We haven't seen that yet, but that may come as we explore and evaluate this system. Fosterville was producing, as a producing mine, was producing for many years before they actually discovered those deeper zones.
Yeah, I think it was 20 years or something like that. They were in mining the nearer surface stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but and there are some age differences and host rock differences, but the fact is that the model's similar. It's a orogenic gold system that's related to strong CO2 bearing fluid systems that create the strong alteration, the signature alteration that we see around our mineralization, up to a couple 100 meters wide in places of iron carbonate alteration.
And that's a good indication that you're looking at a very big system, a powerful gold mineralizing system there. Is that correct, Robert?
That's correct. And I was just updating the statistics for our PowerPoint this morning. And I think our numbers in our drilling is we've got about 24 drill holes we've completed, and 18 of those have better than kind of 10 gram meter product. And 5 of those 24 holes have better than 100 gram meter product in them. So you don't get those kind of statistics in a weak gold mineralizing system. You only get it in a strong mineralizing gold system.
And so now it's the job of trying to figure this all out, and the core drilling, which you said you're 2,000, was it 2,000 meters into 8,000 that you're going to do with core?
That was our planned is 8,000 meter program with core. That's correct. And we're about 1950 meters is what we announced in our release this morning as of last week. So,
and if you see some juicy numbers there, I imagine you can extend the program.
Well, I don't want to make any promises, but our goal is to try to continue to drill on this project as long as we can, and we think the opportunities there, because of our location, we have the potential to work late into the season and start early, and if we want, even push it through the winter if the snowpack isn't too bad, and even if it is bad, then you could still plow, just do some plowing. Because we're road accessible.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. You're not, up in some of these remote camps where if you want to extend, you start talking in the several millions. You've got road access there. You're only about four hours from Vancouver. Lots of logging roads and stuff like that.
That's right. In fact, there's logging activity active on our property area right now, and it's an industrial area that's traditionally seen both logging and mining activity because of the Braylorn mine, which is only 10 kilometers away, and that's the largest historic gold producer in the province of British Columbia.
And you're getting a pretty good flow of the news back from the assay labs. You've last time we talked was about 11 days ago, and you followed that up with more results.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the turnaround now, and it's the turnaround time is when you deliver your samples to the lab. So the advantage, the disadvantage, I should say, of having holes where you see a lot of mineralization and a lot of alteration is you want to do a lot of sampling. Sometimes the slow phase is getting the logging and splitting and sampling done before you send it to the lab, and then there's the turnaround time at the lab too. So
But that's a nice problem to have.
we think so too. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We're not scratching our heads, wondering, well, we better send a few samples in from this drill hole. It's we know that because of this alteration in the nature of what we're dealing with, is that it's sometimes better to oversample.
Right. So you're a couple thousand meters into your 8,000 meters of drilling, and just keep going with it, I guess, and keep looking at that core and get an idea how this system is behaving.
Yeah, well, we're fully disclosed in our results from the RC drill program phase of about 33 holes. I think we completed on that, and then we disclosed in our channel sampling on surface, where we identified several more exposures of the Eagle Zone on surface that helped us define the edges of that system, and that it's still open to the southeast. So now it's a matter of, most of the information that'll be coming out is drilling information on the drilling, and we hope that we'll see some regular reporting on that.
Excellent. Well, that's a really good update. Love to see that high grade in a big mineralized package. And, now that you're into that core drilling, it's getting to that exciting part of trying to understand an orogenic system where you're using all that near surface stuff to, let's face it, try to save yourself money and increase the predictability of hitting the zones as you go deeper.
Yeah, and we're on relatively steep terrain we're dealing with, so we want to be circumspect about where we put the trails, and we want to diamond drill setup trails. So we want to make sure that if we put them in a location, they're in the right spot, and it's hard to redesign something once you've committed to that. So.
Well, you and your team have definitely shown your ability to explore this project to date, and I think it's leading you to some very exciting times in the near term.
Yeah, well, we look forward to a productive year and continuing to provide updates, hopefully a number of encouraging updates as we move forward.
Sounds good to me, Robert. I always enjoy this conversation when you're tagging into lots of high grade.
Yeah, well, it's always good. We've got things to talk about then.
You got that right, Robert. Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up, but we can have a chat at the other end.
Okay, good enough.
All right.
Bye now.
Well, there you go, folks. Endurance has a orogenic gold system. These are they're company makers, let's face it. And finding the vertical element of that is what they're transitioning into now. They're doing a lot of the core drilling that will allow them to see the geology and target the zone as it goes vertical. The widespread high-grade gold mineralization at surface is very impressive. They've hit it in tons of holes, as Robert was mentioning, and now they're using all that information to help them vector deeper. And that's when things can get really exciting. I mean, when the Swan Zone was found at Fosterville, it was a company maker for Kirkland Lake, and they were already a big company to start with. Endurance is a small company that I think has the potential to become much bigger. And so this is it's quickly becoming one of the more impressive discoveries that I'm watching for high-grade gold. And so far, so good. And I think they've got more good stuff to uncover with their current and future drilling. So as always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to speak with your financial advisors and do your homework before making any investment decisions. I think you should do your homework with this company because they put out a lot of important information, and that will help you to understand the scope of what they're looking at here. And I am very impressed with what I see so far. On that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.